Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues. With this video, we'll be discussing my thoughts on episode 7 of the anime series, Plastic Memories. And I have to admit, as we opened this episode, I was kind of like gritting my teeth throughout this, supposed to be humor-filled scenario of Tsukasa finally coming to the conclusion that he wants to ask Ida out on a date. And it just is failing miserably every single step of the way. I'm calling into question as a viewer, knowing the limited time she has left to her and everything like that, and how that is potentially going to affect him as well as her. Like, is this really the right decision to make? You want to ask her out and you want to date her and everything like that. Even after the sort of grandiose soliloquy of an advance she made on him in the tail end of the previous episode, shocking him, I didn't think they were going to take that kind of sort of seriously. And just seeing his, like the nervousness after he realizes she's doing laundry and she's got all his underwear and everything, and constantly time and again, she throws out some paperwork he was doing accidentally. This gets in the way, and he goes seeking the advice of all the fellow guys in the office once again. Not that we already haven't seen that fail miserably once before or twice before. So I was just kind of gritting my teeth all through that segment like, oh, what are you thinking, Tsukasa? This doesn't feel right to me. But of course, after we get over that hurdle in the episode, it became really heartening, and it became really, it just drew me in that much more, because there were multiple things going on. Basically after Ida herself has a sort of powwow with the girls, Mishiru and Eru and everything, and there's talk about having a romantic walk on the beach or this, that, or the other thing. Tsukasa is smartly, I think, leaving it to Ida and her own happiness. What would make her happy? Where should they go? It's up to her. And she finally comes to the conclusion she wants to go to the amusement park. And there's a lot tied to this amusement park emotionally for Ida, calling back on her partnership with Kazuki, who I love the point where after, it's basically known within the office, everybody but Mishiru seems to know that he's wanting to ask Ida out, and Kazuki comes in and she's like, I gotta have some words with you. And you think she's going to be overly protective of Ida once again, and don't you go perving on her and everything like that, but she's actually, throws us for a loop, basically saying, don't slack off on the job. That's the most important thing here. And I was actually surprised by that. But of course, this also leads Tsukasa and Ida to both go gung-ho. More so he's taking his job seriously. He's kicking ass and taking names. And, he's exhausting himself as a result, unbeknownst to himself. So you have the day of this particular date, and she, they both agreed her choice was to go to the amusement park. And we see, as I say, it ties back to the partnership between she and Kazuki. It was very happy times to go there. And for Ida, she just wanted to sit on her favorite bench and watch, the families, the parents and children who were having a great time and being very happy. And it was a source of happiness for her. But it was also bittersweet in that, she is gifty, she has limited time, and she's not necessarily going to experience all this stuff for herself. And then adding insult to injury, this is where Kazuki lets the bomb drop, after the malady that saw her losing a limb because Ida was, sort of wigging out and couldn't be there on the scene when dealing with Mishiru's father and everything like that. We see that Kazuki took that opportunity to say, well, look, we're not going to be partners anymore. And so it's quite interesting to see Tsukasa looking through Ida's diary, and that's sort of the last entry he ever comes across. The rest of the book is pretty much empty at that point. And so it's very emotional for her. And Tsukasa, being sort of the man, not like manly man or anything like that. He's very far from that. But I love that he has such an interest in Ida. It's a pure interest. It's not like, some of the salacious guys' attitude, you just want to get with her and everything like that. Tsukasa's very much about being with her to the end and supporting her and making her as happy as she can be. And I love that. And I love that he's like, the biggest sort of travesty here is you're coming to this amusement park and you're not experiencing it. You're not going on the rides. You're not doing the things that everyone else is here to do. And it's arguable whether she enjoys most of that stuff or not. they're on the roller coaster, and she's just sort of plain faced, and he's like, you know, screaming borderline. They're on the teacup ride, and he's loving it, and she's just kind of like, it's gonna be over soon, you know. But it definitely strengthened the bond between them by the end. And then there's also this sort of B-level through line of, you know, Zack challenging Michiru to go ahead and make Tsukasa some food, especially when he's sick. And he finally does pass out on the Ferris wheel in this amusement park. And Ida at first thinks he's trying to, like, glom onto her. He thinks she's like, error, cannot compute. But he ends up passing out. And of course, he's in bed for like 24 hours, just sleeping around the clock to recoup because he's exhausted himself and all that stuff. And so you have Michiru wanting to make him some food because she does dig him. You know, she's still in denial about it to a point. But at least she's confronting that to a point as well, in that she does make the dish, even though, you know, she kind of cops out and walks away without actually giving it to him. Even after rehearsing this whole conversation in her mind that's going to tell him it's not because she likes him, you know, that kind of thing. And then, of course, we have Ida sitting bedside all night long because of her feelings for Tsukasa. They do have feelings for each other, and it's weird in a way because she is an artificial being, she is a Giftia, and granted we can surmise that there have been sort of relationship dynamics between humans and Giftias, and you know, it can get very interpersonal, I'm assuming, depending on the scenario. It's not all familial, put it that way. And so it is kind of odd because we know she has so much limited time left, and this is one of the aspects of when he comes to. She reveals that to him, not acknowledging that she overheard the fact that, you know, Kazuki had told this to him in a previous episode. She wants to be the one to you know, make that announcement and let him know. And again, solidifying the bond between them. And it was very much almost getting me misty-eyed. His laying there sickly in bed and, you know, almost having to still comfort her for this realization that her days are numbered, and it's like a month that they have left. So tragedy and travesty is coming. It's very, you know, shortly coming ahead of them, and yet he's still, even in that weakened state, is very much about, I want to be your partner to the end. Can we go out on another date sometime? And, you know, just a very, very good-hearted, good-naturedly, and arguably selfless personality that he wants to make every of these final moments for Ida happy as possible and all that kind of stuff. And I really, really loved that. As I say, once you get over that hurdle at the beginning of the episode with the just teeth-grittingly awkward comedy, suddenly everything is just wow factor from that point on, all the way up until the end of the episode. It just, you know, it's going to stick with me. This series is going to stick with me, and I am really apprehensive and tentative about how I'm going to feel about the way this story's likely going to play out. You know, I have speculated before that will we see Michiru and Tsukasa coming together in the wake of the loss of Ida. Other people have speculated, will they find a means by which to keep Ida alive and all this kind of stuff. And at least, you know, it's kind of my speculation that that's not going to be the case, that her, you know, days are literally numbered. And but it's anyone's guess to see how this story is going to shape up and how it's going to close out. All I know is this particular episode, it was after that initial hurdle, it was just, again, a beautiful and beautifully placed, or rather paced, you know, all-around episode for me. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. And I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below what you thought of episode 7 of Plastic Memories, if you've seen it. If not, I highly recommend you check out this series because it definitely plays on emotions and it definitely plays on realistic human dynamics in relationships, friendships, all that kind of stuff. It does exploit it in an entertainment fashion from time to time, and, you know, sort of just going over the top in certain sequences and this, that, and the other thing. And of course, there is the action element of the, you know, reclaiming the Giftias, all that kind of good stuff. But I think the strongest suit for this series is its emotional ties and drawing the viewer in, making you feel something for these characters and not wanting to have to see it end. even though you know that's exactly how it's going to have to play out. So, yeah, as I said, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below what you thought of this episode, and that'll be it for me on this. So, otherwise, hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.